to get ready for your interviews.
All right, team dedication, is it? You guys take the stage. Take your time. The table is not running. Mr. Scoot. All right, gentlemen, one thing I want to mention to you and to remind you guys as well, one of the things about these life skills are that every day of your life is an interview. So what I talked to the last group about, this group of maybe 14-year-old women, girls, imagine if you weren't ever able to speak. You could never express yourself verbally. So the only thing that people saw was you. Your body language, your composure, your attitude, that's all they have. Okay? So remember those things when you're up here on this stage. Remember these things at school and remember them at home, because it is an interview. People want to deal with you in the business world. People want to hire you for certain reasons or one reason or another, and all of it is going to be because of mostly the nonverbal cues that you give off. So you want to make sure that your energy is always positive. So the first thing we're going to do up here is we're going to pretend we heard Miss Melanie Lee and what she said about our posture and our composure. We're not going to have our hands next to our face. We're not going to be fidgeting. We're going to be paying very close attention to what's going on. All right. First thing I'd like you guys to do is introduce yourselves, your name, your full name, where you're from, your age, and who you play for. We'll start at that end.
My name is Kamal Amar Francis. I'm 9 years old, and I live in Elbridge, Maryland.
All right, you play for Team Dedication.
My name is Adam Ingwafel. I'm 9 years old. I play for Team Dedication, and I live in Elbridge, Maryland.
Great job.
My name is Devin Daniel. I'm 10 years old, and I live in Columbia, Maryland. My name is Aiden McDuffie, and I'm 9 years old, and I live in Columbia, Maryland, for Team Dedication.
My name is Austin Cartwright, and I live in Finksburg, Maryland, and I'm 10, and I live for Team Dedication.
All right, Austin, just before the next person goes, just want to remind you guys that when the microphone is in front of you, you do not have to rush. Okay, this is your time. So if I am that person hiding in the back of the room that's looking for the next athlete to represent my brand, and I can't repeat your name back to you, that's a problem. Now, I caught it, but I shouldn't have to try hard. So make sure the next person and the rest of you guys, when you're answering your questions, speak slowly. There's no rush. Nobody is going anywhere. Everybody that's here, we're here. And we want to hear what you have to say.
My name is Anthony Breland. I'm 9 years old, and I live in Columbia, Maryland, and I play for Team Dedication.
Great job.
My name is Ace Valentine, and I live in Ellicott City, and I am 8.
Take your time.
All right, let's try it again. You can take your time. Remember,
my name is
hold on. All right, and also, when you're naming your city, make sure you name your state. Okay, because there's an Ellicott City somewhere else. If I'm from New Jersey, I don't know where Ellicott City is. So you want to make sure if it's Washington, it's Washington, D.C. It's Baltimore, Maryland. It's Bowie, Maryland. Go ahead.
My name is Ace Valentine, and I'm from Ellicott City, Maryland, and I'm 8, and I play for Team Dedication.
Good job.
My name is Trey Green. I'm 8 years old. I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and the team I play for is Team Dedication.
Hi, my name is Malik Koch, and I'm 9. I live in Maryland.
What part of Maryland do you live in, sir? Okay, great answer. All right, my first question is for Trey. So Trey, you need a mic. Trey, I'd like you to name some things that your team did well in your last game. All right, now, you don't want to respond that way. Remember composure. So the first thing out of our mouth is going to be a word, or the first sound needs to be a word. It can't be an emotional response. So name some things that your team did exceptionally well in the last game versus the Kings.
Some things that we did well in the game that we just had are
Okay, now let me help you out a little bit, because you started off, your answer was excellent. All right, so you need a couple more seconds to think about what to say, right? So a trick is you can do, that's a great question, Milton. Some of the things we did well were, and you see how I slowed that down and it gave me an opportunity. That's like 6-7 seconds you have to create a response in your head. But just think about all of the skills that there are on a basketball court and name a few of those things that you guys did well as a team. And that's how you would answer that question. All right, so try again.
That's a great question. Some of the things that we did well in the game that we just had are we broke the Kings press breaks a lot. We did that very well. And
that could be it. You don't have to think of it. That's, if that's one of the things you did well, then that could be it. You don't have to stress yourself out to find a new answer. If that's something you feel like you guys did well, then that would be enough for that answer. Are you satisfied with that?
yes.
All right, great job. Austin, the question for you here. What are some of the areas of improvement for your team going into the next competition?
That's a great question, but I think we need to we have to listen to the plays better so we can know what to do and what not to do.
Great job. All the way on the end. What's your name, sir?
Ball.
All right, Kamal. When you're saying your name, make sure you say your first and last name just to remind everyone who you are.
1 second. Team dedication, you're all being interviewed. Let's sit up.
All right, so your name, Kamal.
Francis.
All right. Mr. Francis, what did your team do differently to prepare for the Capital City Hoop Classic? That's a great question.
Can you repeat the question though?
Absolutely. What did your team do differently to prepare for the Capital City Hoop Classic?
Well, we started to listen to the plays. When people were pushing us around, we didn't really care. We just toughened up and went to the basket.
Okay. Now, what about in the practices leading up to this tournament? Did you guys do anything differently? Did you work harder? Did you work on your conditioning? Was there extra time put into preparation?
We started to practice relocating to the post and the low block. Relocating to get the ball, maybe try to shoot.
That's a great answer. Great answer. All right, last question right here. My friend, what's your name?
Aiden McDuffie.
Mr. McDuffie, if you had to name an outstanding player on your team and an outstanding player on the opposite team, who would those people be and what did they do very well? Starting with your team. Now let me tell you something, time out. So Austin, you see that camera right there? So what the cameraman just did on ABC, the playoffs, he's gonna pan over to you while Mr. McDuffie is supposed to be answering the question. The camera's gonna look at you and say, look at this guy clowning while his teammate is trying to answer a question. So let's make sure that we're not a distraction, because if you were talking, would you want Kamal at the end to be distracting the audience? Yes or no? Is it rude or not? It's rude. Let's be a great teammate. Mr. McDuffie, on you. Sit up tall, please.
I think it would be Ace.
Okay, and tell me what Ace did well today.
He did good on his ball handling.
Okay, great job. And what about someone you would highlight from the opposite team? It's a great question. Okay, so remember your fillers, you can say, that's a great question. One other thing you can say, and I don't know if Miss Melanie Lee went over this or not with you guys, but you can always pass the buck. So if you don't have a great answer for the question, you can say, well, that's a great question, Milton. The person on the other team that I would highlight, I'm not sure, but maybe my friend so-and-so can give a better answer than I did. But you can only pass the buck one time. So if you get the buck passed to you, you can't pass it again. You have to hold the buck. Okay? We had one group that tried to pass the buck all the way down the table. Okay? So that's a way that you can answer that question. So I'm going to ask, what's your name, sir? All right, Ace. Well, I'm going to let Ace answer the question since you named Ace. Ace, who would you identify on the Kings as someone who was outstanding, and what did they do exceptionally well today?
I think number 23 because he shot well.
Hands up the face.
I think number 23 because he shot his threes well.
All right, great job. All right, give it up for team dedication. You guys did a wonderful job. You guys step in front of the banner and take a group picture.